It's my first Comic-Con, and I'm bearing up, I think, remarkably well because I've had 17 cups of coffee. And I'm not kidding.
So one of the biggest questions about this show, I think, it revolves around your character.
Is it?
Well, in the sense that, we're getting Martin Stein. What are we getting as far as your other half goes? Because, we have... Robbie hasn't been announced for the show.
Yes.
And in the comics, there are other counterparts that you have. So can you talk a little about that?
Well, I can't really talk too much about it, but it will be resolved, and it will start being resolved in episode 1 of The Flash next season.
Oh, really?
So The Flash, I'm actually doing 4 episodes. So the first 4 episodes of The Flash will set up certainly my character and more of the show and what you're going to see on the show, because they're now developing the scripts we haven't, as you know, shot anything. So we're all kind of feeling our way, and which is part of the terror and part of the excitement of this venture. But I feel like I will be by the first in the first couple of episodes of Legends, it will all come to fruition, and you'll see. How's that? I tap danced around that pretty well.
Well done.
Thank you.
Has this whole thing caught you by surprise in the sense that here you are hired to come on for The Flash?
Yes.
And now it's
yes. I'm in shock. I totally. I mean, Greg Berlanti is why I'm here. Greg Berlanti is my friend who I worked with several years ago on a show called Eli Stone, which was one of the best experiences I've ever had, and I really trust him, and I love the way he thinks and the way he writes, and I love his heart. And that's what attracted me to The Flash when I first saw it. And then when he asked me to play Martin Stein, I said absolutely. And then I ended up coming to Vancouver, shooting it, and loving the experience. I had no idea that this would then turn into... I don't even honestly know if they did so much. But then the next thing I knew, they were talking about a spin-off, and I of course, had to really think hard because it's uprooted my whole life and changed my whole life. But I also thought at this point in my life, what could be better than shaking things up? Because it's just not the way I thought my life would go, and I'm kind of excited about it.
You played a mentor role in the home stretch of the first season. Can we assume that you will be doing
Say that again?
You played a mentor role, like you were...
Oh, a mentor role.
Yes.
Exactly.
Can we assume that you will be continuing that in the second season in the beginning?
I think, well, first of all, having to do with the fact that I'm the oldest person on the show, that sort of lends itself to a paternal figure, and I think the character itself, the way it's being conceived and written, definitely has that. He's also somewhat arrogant, sarcastic, and that's what I like about it. It's multidimensional, and yes, I'm sure the mentor aspect of him will come out, and it already, as I see it already in episode 2 with Carlos, with Cisco. There's a nice relationship developing now with him, which I'm enjoying enormously.
Well, you're used to being sort of the smartest guy in the room for the most part, but with Rip kind of coming along, he has a lot of knowledge about the future and other timelines. So will that be a dynamic where you guys can enjoy bouncing off of each other, or will it be a little adversarial?
I'm hoping both, because that's the fun of this whole concept, is that it's a group of people that shouldn't be working together, that have decided to band together to fight a larger problem. And so the fun of that, to me, is how do you actually make that work? And that's, I think, one of Greg's strengths, because it's like the Flash is really a family show. It's about people who are trying to connect and can't or won't. And I think it's in a similar way will be the same with Legends, because they're people who shouldn't be together, and that's the fun of it.
Andrew Price was described it just a little while ago as, whereas the other two shows are kind of rooted in some way, especially Arrow rooted in reality, this show is bonkers, is the way he described it. That was the word he used.
Greg said? Andrew, yes.
Said, this show is bonkers.
Well, God help us, that's all I can say, because what the hell does that mean? No, I mean, really, I think it's, first of all, for better or for worse, it's more ambitious than anything they've done. So that's terrifying because of what that means in terms of production and crew and and special effects and all that. But also, I think they're really smart. I think they really know how to give everyone their moment and make it something that you can really that makes sense and you can follow. Because the danger is that too many stories, too many people. How do you? But I think that's going to be the great thing about this show is that it will be cohesive.
Can you talk about your own history with this genre? You know, when you were a comic book fan as a kid, do you have any favorites? You know,
I have honestly, I'm so not. I shouldn't be here. I really, it's like this is not the world I ever was interested in. I'm still not.
That informs your character, though, I think, because he's a guy that, in that sense, is new to this.
And there's also Andrew was talking about it, and Greg were talking about an episode of the new show where there's time travel involved, where we go back to another time, and that to me is because it's actually a time I lived in, and so I will sort of become look. I know, you don't know what you're talking about, and I do, and I mean that's kind of the way I am on set, and that's part of I think. What they see in me and my humor and my sense of, sarcasm and how I love to be on a set, which is just to enjoy it and kind of make fun of everything. I think that's probably why they cast me.
Well, since you don't have that kind of love of the genre coming into it, was it difficult if they gave you a stack of comic books and said, all right, read up on this kind of thing and bone up on the material, or did they just not even bother with it?
Well, they did, but I didn't read them. because it doesn't help me, honestly. The only thing that makes, as an actor for me, it's what's on the page. Because no matter what you read, it's like when you do, when you look at you're playing a real character and you're doing history and you're reading the biographies and everything, it absolutely has nothing to do often with what you're actually playing. So it's confusing to me. So what's important to me is what's on the page and how I'm relating to the other actors. Yeah. And that informs and that becomes the character. And obviously, they write it in a way that they've done all that work, so they've done the research, and so they know the kind of person they want to mold, and then my job is to fulfill that and humanize it.
Most teams each person has their own dynamic that they bring. Like, for example, like the wisecracker or like the muscle or something like that. What do you think Professor Stein brings to the Legends team?
I think wisdom, intelligence, and a heart. I think he's a very thoughtful person and hopefully amusing.
Now, one thing that was key in actually having your character kind of overcome that first crisis of being caught in another person's body was the love for his wife and just that personal life and wanting to get back to it.
Yes.
Are we going to still see elements of the personal life?
Without doubt.
Okay.
Yeah, without doubt. Yeah, I mean that's when you're torn between what you do and what your home life is, like just my life is right now, moving to Vancouver and leaving my home in New York. That's drama. That's heart tugging, and I think people relate to that.
What's been your response? Oh, I'm sorry.
How much have you been told your character's journey in the first season?
Literally very little. Yeah, it's blind faith. I trust these people, and also, if I read a script and say, first of all, I'm not that kind of actor. I don't say I'm not doing this. It's like I think that they will. If I have a suggestion or say I think maybe we can include, obviously diplomatically, I think they will listen to that. But really, I have only optimism about it because I trust them and I think they know what they're doing.
What's been your response to, what kind of, I should say, what are your thoughts on the response fans have had to your character? Because, even if you didn't grow up reading comics, as an old-time fan myself, I would say, great job. No. You really embody Martin Stein,
Listen, I'm thrilled, honestly, and today was a real eye-opener, and to meet just even signing autographs and people coming by and talking about it, and of course, that reminds me of why we do this, why we work, because we work so hard, and the hours are so interminable, and everybody works so hard on these things, and to get that sense of what it means to people makes it all worthwhile. So that's important.
What are your favorite TV shows right now?
My favorite TV shows. I honestly, I don't watch TV very much. And honestly, my favorite TV show is CBS Sunday Morning, which is the one show I watch every Sunday. But I watch, I actually do like The Flash. I mean, I do watch The Flash, and I try to watch more, but I just don't seem to get the chance.
What gets you excited? As we're so many fanboys here. Does anything push your button in terms of culture, entertainment, or?
Writing.
Okay.
When I go to the theater, I go to the theater a lot in New York, and I'm just waiting to be taken away by the writing of a play, and also scripts, television. The writing is what always attracts me.